The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Steve Patterson. All of these fine people waving little Canadian flags could only mean one thing, and I didn't win a gold medal, and there's no one here visiting from the royal family, so it must be time for the My Canada Gala at the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. Let's do it, everybody!
From Winnipeg, Manitoba, the CBC Winnipeg Comedy Festival presents My Canada, starring Johnny Harris, Derek Sagan, Marta Chavez, Al Ray, Trent McClellan, Charlie Demers, and Steve Patterson. And now, here's our coast-to-coast-to-coast host, Steve Patterson.
Winnipeg! Hello! Wow! Hey, everybody! Good evening, and welcome to the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. My name is Steve Patterson, and tonight's show is called My Canada, which is a bit of a misnomer because there are several great comedians from all the different regions in our great country giving a version of their Canada. So from here on in, when I or anyone on stage talks about my Canada, please keep in mind we're hoping it also refers to your Canada and maybe even everybody's Canada, all right? With the possible exception of one Canadian who rarely talks to any other Canadians, but is ironically in charge of all Canadians. I personally have been to every major city in this beautiful country of ours, and most of the very minor ones. So I know Canada intimately, from her massive peaks out west to her moist inlets on the east coast, to her welcoming flat midsection. And tonight, we're in Winnipeg. Huh? Which, if Canada were a woman, lying down would be, anyone? Her belly button, that's right. Winnipeg is the belly button of Canada. Not always noticeable, but it'd be weird if it wasn't there. Tonight, we are proud to take you on a truly Canadian tour from east to west, or if you're watching at home, from east to west. Much like the path of the sun, but better, because you could look directly at us without burning the retinas out of your head, and also the sun isn't funny. Particularly to those of us of Irish-Canadian heritage who don't have the ability to tan. You guys ready to get this started? Let's start this thing. Now, when it comes to Newfoundland and Labrador, you might ask yourself, where are those two places? Well, then you'd be an idiot. Because it's one place. It's one place with two names. Now, most people associate Newfoundlanders as folks who drink a lot, who speak a language all their own, and who initiate outsiders by screeching them in. Well, that is an unfair understatement. A much more accurate statement would be, drinking was created in Newfoundland. I first traveled to St. John's, Newfoundland as part of their first ever comedy festival, performing alongside the cast of This Hour Has 22 Minutes. To put it in perspective, it was basically like being in Jerusalem with Jesus and the apostles. So I didn't get to do the tourist screeching in, which now involves a wee shot of rum, a friendly man in a clean outfit, and a stuffed toy version of a puffin bird. That's right, even the birds out there smoke. I didn't get that. I got the proper local screeching in from a Viking pirate that appeared from the fog with a full barrel of rum and an eye patch that wasn't a prop. And instead of a cute fuzzy toy, he had a real codfish that was frisky. Now, I don't know if you've heard of the ceremony. The ceremony is pretty straightforward. The host, who must be a native Newfoundlander, says a variety of things which no non-Newfoundlander can understand or pronounce properly. And then you drink a shot of rum. Now, a lot of people would think it's gross to French kiss a codfish. Unhealthy, maybe even mentally unsound, but what was I supposed to do? Maybe it was the endless flow of Newfoundland screech or the siren song of fiddle music. But I swear to God, my cod was kissing me back. Passionately. Now, there's no real precedent for how long you're supposed to kiss the cod during a screeching in, but I can tell you this. When a room full of fun-loving Newfoundlanders, including comedians, all stop smiling and cheering, and the pirate Viking who handed you the fish says, "All right, buddy, that's enough." Well, that's too long. And now, to introduce our funny man from Newfoundland, I'm going to use another obvious Newfie cliche. I knew he was from Newfoundland because he was the only comic that showed up backstage in a Lexus waving his money around in Western Canada. So let's all be richer for enjoying the fabulous Johnny Harris.
Thank you, Winnipeg. I'm Johnny Harris. I'm very honored to be here representing Newfoundland and Labrador. People spot me as a Newfoundlander right away. I guess it's the accent. Either that or they think I'm Irish, which is understandable because the Newfoundland accent is very Irish. In fact, Newfoundland is very Irish. There are some scholars of dialect who believe that Newfoundland, because it's an island, because historically it's been fairly insular, that the Newfoundland dialect is probably the closest thing that exists now to Elizabethan English. And that if you want to hear Shakespeare, there's people smarter than you and I who believe this. If you want to hear Shakespeare the way Shakespeare intended it to be heard, you need to hear it from a Newfoundland actor. Right, to be or not to be, that's a good question to run it by. But a funny story about my accent is I've been living in Toronto for the last several years. I've been doing a show, a CBC show there called Murdoch Mysteries. Thank you, thank you. But in the show, there's a core cast of only 5 characters, and the lead guy is played by an Ontarian, originally from Montreal, and then the female lead, the doctor, is played by an Australian actress, and then the younger female doctor is played by a British Canadian, and then the police inspector is played by a full-on Brit from Northern England, used to be on Coronation Street, right? He's our star power. And then the young sidekick constable, who's, you know, dashing, but also very funny, pure of heart, maybe should be the lead character of the show, is played by myself, a Newfoundlander. So it's an interesting little stir-fry of a cast there. And we all make fun of each other's accents in good nature, but none of them can really do a Newfoundland accent. And I try to teach them. I give them phrases to work on. You know, I give them long may your big jib draw. Stay where you're to till I comes where you're at. My personal favorite, what do you got in your mouth, me old cock? The standards, right? I give them the standards, but they still don't quite get it. Great actors have tried. Dame Judi Dench, brilliant actress. In the Shipping News, she played a Newfoundlander. The accent wasn't quite right. So I've written a little thing here I'd like to read you. It's almost like an actor's, almost a warning of sorts to an actor who is attempting to take on a Newfoundland accent. To get it right would be an infinite learning process. And before undertaking such a task, one should ask themselves if they can really commit to it. Sure, you might be able to turn the odd TH sound into a D, but anyone could do that. You might spot your dialogue with the odd hey by. Even the most ambitious of you might learn to drop or add a H here or there. But even then, there's still a long journey ahead. You must add and drop letters you cannot even imagine. Ask yourself, are you willing to take a B out of bumblebee? Did you know there is a T at the edge of every cliff? have you been leaving the L out of chimney? In short, do you have the dedication of someone who would heat a apple even if they hated heating apples? Thank you. Moving to Toronto was a bit of an adjustment for me. I had to relearn simple things, like crossing the street. In Newfoundland, if you even think about crossing the street, traffic comes to a halt. I didn't realize that when I first moved there, and one day I just waltzed out into the middle of the road, and a car comes to a screeching halt, and the guy blows his horn at me, and I just stopped, dead in my tracks. Because in Newfoundland, if somebody blows the horn at you, it's because you know them. So I just stopped and tried to figure out where this person and I had met. And he becomes more and more irate. He's blowing the horn at me, and I'm just there like, yeah, I get it, I know you. I'm just trying to figure out where it is. But here's some advice. If you're driving in Toronto, you must not stop to let a Torontonian cross the road. That is the height of indignity to a Torontonian. They'll look at you like, well, I was just gonna wait for you to go by, so don't act like you're doing me a favor. Like, Toronto's the only city in the world where you could hold a door for someone and they look at you like, I had it, okay? I would have been just fine. I just think Toronto needs to get on board with the rest of the country. It is the biggest city in the most polite nation in the world. Right, Canadians are polite. Some people say Canadians are too polite. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's part of what makes us great. The fact that we put a premium on being civil to each other. On being friendly, on being polite. This is a country where you step on someone's foot and they apologize to you. That's classy. That's classy. That's taking the high road. And I think that's classy, and I just think Toronto needs to get on board with the rest of the country. If they need an example to go by, they could come to Newfoundland if they don't mind the crossing, because while we don't mind our crosswalks, we do mind our manners. Thanks, Winnipeg. I'm Johnny Harris. It'll be great. Thank you.
Up next, Quebec's Derek Sagan takes the stage on the CBC Winnipeg Comedy Festival.
The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you've ever had the displeasure of driving on a road through Montreal, you know they are in worse shape than Kenny Rogers' third face. There are potholes in Montreal so big. NASA is thinking of staging their next moon landing there. And the corrupt construction companies, instead of fixing them, just leave signs warning that they are there. But the signs are as small as the potholes are big. And of course, they're written in French. So next time you're in Montreal, be very careful walking around on the streets. And if you hear a cry for help, have a quick look down those potholes. A group of English tourists may be down there in need of your assistance. Now, here's a man from Quebec who doesn't need any help making us all laugh. The very good, très bon, Derek Sagan!
Oh man, good evening, Winnipeg. This is great. Don't we live in the greatest country in the world? All the different region and culture all living together in such harmony. Right? But I love the Newfoundland accent. Actually, my girlfriend is from Newfoundland, so I love it. And our first date, she had the nerve to tell me that I talk funny. I was like, I talk funny? You sound like a drunk Keebler elf. What? I don't talk funny. And it's on our first date. She was my first date after my divorce. I got divorced about 3 years ago. And actually, you know what, to be honest, we're all friends here. I always say that I got divorced, but I think if I'm gonna be truthful, I think to get divorced, you have to file paperwork or get a lawyer, something like that. I'm not really a paperwork kind of guy, everybody. I'm more of a change the lock on the house kind of guy. So I'm Québécois though, so I'm very uncomfortable to say the word separate, so I just always say divorce. Right. politic joke. It's been a bit of an embarrassing year to be from Montreal, right? Student protest. What is this student? Hey, these students are clearly not economics students. Things go up in prices. See, that's how it's work. You communist idiot, get out of the street. I'm really glad to be here too, just honestly, just to get out of the house. I have 3 kids at home, so this is really nice to just get away. Because today we had a blizzard in Montreal, and 2 weeks ago, we had a snow day. A snow day, esti. Already they closed the school way too much, right? Summer vacation, suck an egg summer vacation. 2.5 months, 7 day a week, 24 hours a day with these little kids. I need my kid to go to school just so I could love them again. Get out of here. But snow day is the worst of all the day off school, right? Because I got up, I got them ready, make their lunch, brush your teeth. You have to go out and shovel the car, warm it up, get to the school, and they get in, and they're like, Daddy, it's locked. Knock again! What do you mean? That's the deal. I get them here, you take them. You have to take them in. And the lady's like, didn't you see on the school website? I'm like, oh yeah, every morning I go on the school website. What great recipe did Jeanette put up on the homepage today? I'm lucky this job actually let me get out of the house a lot. I get to travel a lot in this beautiful country. And I used to have a policy too, that when I do a show in Ontario, I would always take my car to show in Ontario, right? Listen, I'm not a geographologist or whatever. But in my head, if it was in Ontario, it's either going to be close to Ottawa or close to Toronto, right? So I drive. That's an easy drive. But it's turned out, everybody, Ontario is huge. It is. It's massive. Because I got a call to do a show in Sudbury, Ontario. It sounds close to Toronto. For somebody from Quebec, I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably beside Mississauga. It's probably like a suburb of Toronto. No, it's not a suburb of Toronto. I think it's a suburb of China. It's far. But to go, you take the same highway from Montreal, the same highway that you would take to go to Ottawa. So 2 hours into my trip, I'm like, hey, Ottawa, I'm going to Sudbury. It's my first time, very excited. See you. And then you go through Ottawa on the 417. And my favorite city in Canada, Titsville. What a cool city. That's not the real name, but somebody had green spray paint and they took off one of the S's. But when you get past that, everybody, I don't know what happened, but there's nothing. 2 hours of nothing. Like I think it's a nuclear test facility or something. I saw one lamppost in 2 hours. I'm like, where am I? And then, for no reason, there's one town just sprout up out of nowhere. It's called Pembroke. I'm like, what terrible thing happened for this town to exist here? Like 200 years ago, some settlers were leaving Ottawa and we're gonna discover the West. And then they leave, and 2 hours into their journey, their horse died. And the horse's name was Pem, I guess. We're like, oh, Pembroke. I guess we live here now. So at 4 hours into my trip, when we get there, I think I'm almost there, right? No, man. At the 6 hour mark, I'm like, am I lost? What's happened? And at 9 hours, I'm like, I'm afraid. I think I missed it. I'm gonna drive off the end of Canada. And then I call my agent, and I'm like, where is it? Wait a second. Holy cow, a huge hole in the highway. Sudbury. It's a hole. Because it's a mine, a nickel mine. They just dug out all the nickel. They're like, nickel, nickel. I love 5 cents. Give me more. You guys have been so fun. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you all very much. Thank you. Have a good night.
Still to come, Toronto's Market Chavez takes us to the center of the universe on the CBC Winnipeg Comedy Festival.
The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Moving westward from Montreal, there's a little town called Toronto. Toronto's getting friendlier than it used to be, mostly because people there live pretty much directly on top of each other now. When you can hear every conversation your neighbors are having through the paper-thin wall of your 500-square-foot condo that you paid $1,000 per square foot for, you think you would get to know them a little bit. But often you don't. Toronto is an amazing city full of amazing people that are happy to have you come visit, provided you don't make direct eye contact or talk to us directly. But our next comic welcomes you to look directly at her while she talks to you directly, because it'll be awkward if you don't. She is directly from Toronto via Nicaragua. Please welcome Marta Chavez!
Hello! Hola, Winnipeg! ¿Cómo están? I am Canadian, yes. I have survived 30 winters. I have lived through 7 prime ministers. And I have endured the entire career of Celine Dion. I am a Canadian. I am. Thank you. I had to study to become Canadian. They ask you things that make no sense. Like they ask you, who is Canada's first prime minister? Who was? McDonald. What did I say in my test? Tim Horton. That's what I said. I have lived everywhere in Canada. I am actually from Montreal. Yeah. Well, not originally. I was born and raised in Nicaragua. But because some people cannot get enough political instability in a lifetime, I moved to Quebec. And everywhere I go, I carry a piece of La Belle Provence in my heart. It's a chunk of poutine stuck in my coronary. In Toronto, we have some of the happiest homeless people. You know, there is a guy by the subway singing, if you happy and you know, spare some change, cha-cha-cha-cha. If you happy and you know, spare some change. And I asked him, what is the reason of your merriment, homeless bohemian? And he said, hey, I just moved from Quebec and here I don't have to beg in 2 languages. No. And I've been traveling, you know, I'm so Canadian that I went to entertain the Canadian troops in the Middle East. Yes, I did. Yeah. Don't clap. Nobody else wanted to go. But I'm from Nicaragua. If I hear, I'm thinking home. So I went. I tell you, I've been traveling. I went to PEI recently. Have you ever been in PEI? Yes. Prince Edward's Island. I went to the house of Anne of Green Gables, yes. Because that's what I love to do on vacation. I love to go to the houses of fictional characters, yes. When I was in Germany, I went to the house of Hansel and Gretel. When I was in Rome, I went to the Vatican. When you come to Toronto, what do? You go to the CN Tower, right? You go to the CN Tower. You know that now they have something called the Edge Walk. Have you heard about that? The Edge Walk. People pay good money to go walk on the edge of the CN Tower. And when I say people, I mean white people. Because brown people don't put themselves in danger. We already survived a revolution. Maybe an earthquake, a flood. Why are we going to pay, you know, to be hanging like a piñata like that from the CN Tower? It's terrible. Another thing I don't understand is Niagara Falls. People go to Niagara Falls. You see all the pictures of the people, white people, who have tried to jump over the falls in a barrel, right? Have you heard about that? They never succeed. Never. I always wonder, what is the amount of methamphetamine that a person has to ingest to decide, I am going to jump over the falls in a barrel. Look, the falls give electricity to the whole province of Ontario. I think I can make it. Some guy was asking me the other day, I was at the falls looking at the Maid of the Mist. You know the Maid of the Mist? It goes close to the falls and it goes back. Close, and it's dangerous. And this guy was pushing a ticket for me to go in the Maid of the Mist. And I said, back off. I am not going in no freaking boats. I have my papers. Thank you very much, Winnipeg. You have been a great crowd.
Here comes the man who is a comedy heavyweight, even though his body weight is well within acceptable parameters on the Canada Health Guide. How he came to be on the show tonight is a very interesting story. He created the Winnipeg Comedy Festival, and he books himself every year, so. Now that I say it, it's not that interesting a story. Please welcome the hilarious Al Ray!
Thank you. I'm here to represent Manitoba and the greater Prairie region. And I wanted to do a good job because I don't know if you know this, but I'm originally from Toronto. Thank you. Thank you. But I thought, you know, in order to get my facts straight, and I wanted to do a really good job, so I headed down to the Winnipeg downtown library because I wanted some meth. And Winnipeg is the only city in Canada where people go, how's your downtown library? And people say, dodgy. We have a dodgy library. But I went, and I got some facts, facts about the prairies, and I'm gonna share them with you. Prairie facts for you. So here we go. In 1612, the first French settlers arrived in what is now present-day Manitoba. And 9 months later, the first Métis arrived. That's a fact. The Hudson Bay Company opened here in 1670. We had our first bay in 1670. Do you think the service was any better? Or maybe they only had one cashier per fort. Now, originally people settled along the Red River. You might know this. They settled on the Red River. And if you went to school here, you might have heard about the Red River Cart. The Red River Cart, which is famous for being the first vehicle ever stolen in Manitoba. Now, when people first moved here, and I moved here in the spring of '97, I came, yeah, I know. Not a lot of people coming here in the spring of '97, at least not voluntarily. But I recall as if it were yesterday sitting in a mansion on Wellington Crescent, sipping cognac and wondering if the sandbags would hold. The owners of the house had evacuated 2 weeks earlier. And so... Now, when unkind people come from other places and they talk about one great city, they say, oh, it's cold or the mosquitoes. But once you live here for a while, you know there's something far more important, and that is how depressing it is to live here. And fact. And my friend worked on the crisis line, if you can imagine. He had to quit. I know, he had to quit because it was so stressful. Quit about a year ago, but he had some success. He said one thing that worked is he would say to people, just hold on till we get an IKEA. And this apparently was often enough for some. We have an IKEA now. And I love IKEA because you can get a lamp for $12. You can get an $8 lamp for $12. That's what I love about IKEA. There are good things about Winnipeg, right, Winnipeg? There are good things. I like it. You know what? This is it's a cultured place. That's what I like about it. Because I've traveled in other places. Like I've been to Regina. I was performing in Regina and I met a guy and he told me that he's the entertainment reporter for all of Saskatchewan. And I said, that must be a little bit like being the Maytag repairman. But Saskatoon I like. Saskatoon's a prettier city. I like Saskatoon. Saskatoon, the only city in Saskatchewan named after a fruit, other than Prince Albert, which is also, it's a true, that's a fact. It's also a fact. Which takes me to Alberta. Now, Alberta is a great place to live if you're a horrible human being. That's my opinion. I'm sorry, it's true. But I like the mountains, though. I like the mountains. I just wish that Alberta was on the other side of them. That's kind of like a granite curtain. And then I wish Alberta would separate. That's right. Not from Canada, just from the prairies. They can stay in Canada if we need the money. I just want, so they're a little granite curtain, and they can stay over there in their oligarchy, and it'll just be us. It'll just be Manitoba and Saskatchewan, like Manny and his little buddy Sasky. They'll just hang out together. And Sassy will, hey Manny, you think we'll get an IKEA? Yeah, Sasky, you'll get an IKEA one day, and an NHL team. Oh yeah, Manny? Well, one day you might get a professional football team. Yeah! Listen, you guys are an amazing audience, and I would love to stay and talk some more, but there's a lot of great show, and I'm kind of worried about my car.
Up next, Trent McClellan is our chapless chap from Alberta when the CBC Winnipeg Comedy Festival returns.
The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next comic comes from the province of Alberta. Yeah. Please welcome Trent McClellan.
I am representing Alberta, but I'm originally from Newfoundland, quite frankly. And that's probably blowing your minds right now. You're probably like, hold on a second, there's no black people in Newfoundland. And you're right, because I'm here. I've been living in Alberta for the last 10 years, and it is awesome. When I first moved there, they were just giving out checks at the border. It was awesome. Ralph's like, can you spell Alberta? I'm like, I'll try. Here you go. Here's cash. There you go. Alberta's awesome, too, because they have real characters in Alberta. Like, they have real cowboys. Did you know that? They have genuine... I thought it was just a Halloween costume, but it's real cowboys. And some people think cowboys are really tough and mean. I'm like, I don't think they're that mean. They look mean because their jeans are so tight. Well, my friend goes, no, cowboys are tough because they do like rodeos. They have like calf roping, you know? I go, that's not impressive to me. You're roping a baby cow. I don't know if cowboys know this or not, but cows aren't known for their speed and agility. No farmer buys a truck that's 12 cow power, okay? Albertans like to think, too, that they have the fewest broke people in the country, right? That's what they like to think. I don't know about that. I don't know. I think broke is the new gay in Alberta. That's what I think. I think it's the new gay. Stay with me. Remember a number of years ago when gay people couldn't just come out and just say they're gay, right? Now they can. They can go, yay, I'm gay. That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, guess what? Yeah, broke people aren't there yet. There's a lot of closet broke people in Alberta. It is tougher to be a broke dude, I'm telling you right now, than a gay dude in Alberta, okay? Okay? Because a gay dude still has a chance with a woman. If a woman sees a good-looking gay dude, she's probably like, I bet I can make him change. If she sees a good-looking broke dude, she's not like, I'd like to give him change. But my favorite part about living in Alberta is that you get to meet some interesting characters. As a Newfoundlander, we get, people say, you have interesting characters in Newfoundland, and we do, but Alberta has some as well. My favorite one is called Oil Rig Guy. Do you have Oil Rig Guy here in Manitoba? He's my favorite. After a show, he normally comes up and goes, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, no, hey, come here, hey, no, hey, good, no, hey, come here, hey, no, hey, no, come here. I got a joke for you should use in your sketch, right? Oh, you're gonna love it, right? No, no, stay, no, right? Like two guys or whatever, right? Two guys or whatever going to like a bar or a Tim Hortons or whatever, right? And right, one guy, right, goes, oh, I forgot how it goes. Hold on, no, hold on. Steve, how does that joke go? How does that joke go where I'll just tell him the punchline, right? Turns out Buddy doesn't even have a cat. Yeah, you can use that in your sketch, right? I just got down off the rigs, right? I make about 650 grand a minute up there, right? Yeah, I'm buying booze for everybody, whatever, right? I don't even care, right? I've been drinking beer all day. I had like 41 kokanees before I came here, right? But I was like, who cares? It's Friday and I don't gotta work till Friday night, right? You guys are a lot of fun. I'm Trent McClellan. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Go west with BC's Charlie Demers when the CBC Winnipeg Comedy Festival returns.
The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Please welcome BC's own Charlie Demers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I love the forthrightness of the prairies. I love the honesty. Like, I love the fact that in Winnipeg, what you see is what you get. Like I love the fact that the rich neighborhood in Winnipeg is just called Tuxedo. Just right on the nose. Just, it's kind of a dink move, really. Though I love the prairies, I am here, as you can probably guess, representing fitness-obsessed Vancouver. It's true, like I was downtown Vancouver a couple weeks ago. I saw there was a lady, she was wearing a Lululemon yoga bag, and it had little snippets of wisdom just written on the sides. And one of them said, sweat once a day. Whoa. Way ahead of you, yoga. You kidding me? Here's how enlightened I am. Sometimes I'll wake up in a sweat. Like many Vancouverites, I am in an intercultural marriage. My wife's from Toronto. But she is also, she's Chinese-Canadian. And so, you know, I'm not here to toot my own horn or anything, but I think that shows character on my part. No, I do. I honestly do, because I think it takes guts to hit on Asian girls, because nobody knows how old they are. Vancouver's an interesting town demographically. Like, we're a very multicultural city, but the first thing people say often when they're visiting from Eastern Canada or from the United States, they go, where's all the black people? And we go, I don't know. We didn't do anything to them. It is a small community, right? But there's been a black community in Vancouver for 100 years. Amazing history there. Jimi Hendrix's family's from Vancouver. Like, all kinds of neat stuff. They're a small community, but they're tight-knit. Like, if you see two black guys in a public space in Vancouver, and they see each other, but they don't know each other, they'll still give each other one of these. Just nothing big, just a little subtle. I'm here, you're here, we're here. And I admire that, you know what I mean? Like that idea that you're a small community, so you're gonna let each other know that you're there for each other. I admire it so much that I've started doing it to other fat guys at the gym. You like smoothies? Of course you do. On the West Coast, our international cuisine is a great point of pride. We love the fact that we have foods from all over the world. Sometimes an ethnic dish will become so popular, though, that people start trying to get in on the action who have no business selling it. We have a chain of kind of dinery type restaurants called White Spot, and they decided to just start selling Thai food. Just in case anybody was having trouble finding an Asian restaurant in Vancouver. Just White Spot Thai food. To give you a bit of background information, White Spot is the type of restaurant where your child can order a hot dog that will be delivered in a cardboard boat called a pirate pack. You can have a green coconut curry. Your kid can have a friggin' grilled cheese sandwich. And every time I saw these ads, I was like, why? Who is this for? Why? Who? And then I finally figured that the demographic that they had to be going for with White Spot Thai food was like racists, but they still want Thai food, right? Like, there's some guy, he's sitting at home and says, oh, I love pad Thai so much. I just wish there was somewhere I could have without a Chinaman touching it. Well, come on down to White Spot. In fairness to White Spot, they did do their best to make it a more like authentic Thai experience. For a little while there, all those pirate pack boats I was telling you about, they came with a little compartment for human trafficking. And if that last joke made you uncomfortable, you know, tugging at the collar or whatever, that's just my little Vancouver way of helping. Sweat once a day. Winnipeg, I love you to bits. Thank you very much for having me. My name's Charlie Maris. Have a good one. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the My Canada Gala. On behalf of all the great Canadian comedians who are up here tonight, thank you, and we're sorry. Good night.